against a Justin Herbert who had lit up Washington, the team you think is going to win the NFC East, at Washington opening day. 14 of 19 third down conversions by Justin Herbert. You love Justin Herbert. He throws rockets. Yeah. He managed to score 17 total points against my team because Micah Parsons said, okay, I got you. I'll put my hand in the dirt as I predicted he needed to on Friday's show. And he wrecked the game. He made it harder and harder as the game wore on for somebody to try to block him. And all of a sudden, my defense is hanging in ways it never hoped to hang in last year. Do you remember what was happening early last year? Cleveland went to Jerry World and ran roughshod over them for 307 yards rushing. They went to Baltimore a little later and gave up 294 rush yards. Arizona came to Dallas on a Monday night to Jerry World and ran for 261 yards.
Give us some time, Skip. You're only 2 games into the season. Give us some time.
Do you realize that in the first 2 games, Tampa ran for a grand total of 52 yards, and I'll give the Chargers this. They managed 95. Is that 307 or 294 or 261? Oh, we are worlds better than we were last year.
Well, let me ask you a question. How many yards did the Rams run against you? How many yards did the Falcons have when they rushed against you in the first 2 games? Give it some time. You 2 games into the season, and you talk
We're all different. No, Mike Nolan was a disaster. You know it, and I know it. They mutinied on Mike Nolan, and it wasn't until they got him out of there that great things started to happen.
Right. I will concede this, Skip. You seem, from what I saw Sunday, you seem to have figured it out that we're going to be a little bit more balanced. We're not going to throw it 58.
Okay, that's on offense.
Right. But so you're talking about overall. But this defense.
I love this defense because it's so much better than it was. And remember that they took the GOAT to the wire at Tampa Bay on opening night on a solo stage. They had to get goated to lose the game. They had to get goated. It took Brady doing what he does greater than anybody in the history of football. It took Tom Brady at his greatest to hold my team off 31-29.
Listen, in sports, there's wins and there's losses. That's why they keep
That
scoring.
was the greatest loss in the history of my franchise.
There are no moral victories in sports. That's why they keep the score.
This team needed a moral victory.
Because it's like, oh, no.
Okay, what's the most difficult opening day or night test in pro football? It would be at the defending champs, right? We went there and played them 50-50. Blow for blow. We went all the way to the buzzer. It required a walk-off field goal to beat us.
Think about it, Skip. Name the time you've ever heard, even the parents say, did you have a good time? The first thing out of their mouth when the kids play, did you win or did you lose? Fans, our team had a great time. We really enjoyed the game. No, what your friends ask you, did y'all win or did you lose?
Okay.
Because scores are important. There are no moral victories.
Did we crumble after our moral victory?
You lost.
No, we went all the way to the other coast without our 2 defensive ends, without our starting safety, without our starting defensive tackle. We went out there and held Justin Herbert to 17 points, and we won the game on a walk-off field goal. And my quarterback has taken it up another level. You saw Dak Prescott play his greatest game ever on opening night, head-to-head with the GOAT at Tampa. Well, I don't know what more he can do. He can't play much better than that.
Well, he can win.
He should have won.
Would you rather him play a little worse and win or play better and lose?
They were a 9-point dog there.
Skip, that only matters to the... You didn't bet. It only matters to the bettors.
I bet you.
That's okay. Right? You lost.
Yeah, I did not lose.
I picked Tampa.
Okay, well, I picked Tampa also.
No,
I did. I picked Tampa.
So and you over here, so what you patting the Cowboys to the back for?
All right, so the point is that all of a sudden, all through last week, they lost player after player to COVID, to injury, to suspension. And they sucked it up and went out there and won a game that you said they would get routed in.
So let me ask you a question. Was it more impressive what they did or what the Ravens did? Since you want to talk about all the losses that they've had.
The Ravens are perennial good to great.
Why not?
My team has missed the playoffs the last 2 years. We're not talking about the Ravens. We're talking about, are the Cowboys better?
No.
And the answer on a lie detector for you would be absolutely better than I thought.
Skip, all I can do is base it on 2 games.
Okay.
I'm going to base it on 2 games.
Here's the most stunning, surprising stat I've heard in maybe years, especially concerning my my Cowboys. And that is, if you go back over the last 7 games last season and then add on the first 2 games this season, that's a 9-game span. That's more than half of a pro football season.
Okay.
Obviously, well, now with 17, you could say it's right in the middle.
Okay, go ahead.
But the point is, over 9 games, they have led the National Football League in takeaways and turnover ratio. So they're not turning the ball over on offense, and they are getting turnovers on defense. They're leading the league in both categories over a 9-game span, and they've taken it right into this year.
I'm glad you mentioned that over 9-game span. Now, over that same 9-game span, can you tell me what their win-loss record is?
Well, it just doesn't matter because you can see what's happening.
Okay, hold on. So hold on.
Okay, we didn't have Dak last year. I'm only talking about the defensive side of the ball.
Okay, but I'm saying, you keep saying...
We did win at Minnesota, and we did beat Philly at home and San Francisco at home, and we should have won at New York and maybe even stolen division if my coach had just challenged the obvious non-catch.
You just... Hold on. Time out. Wait a minute, Skip. You just hyped up taking the football away.
Yeah.
And I said, okay... How many those takeaways did they lead to wins? You said it doesn't matter.
How many of those games did Dak Prescott play? Only 2 out of 9.
So you're not allowed to win a game unless Dak Prescott plays.
Well, I just gave you the ones that Andy Dalton actually won. We actually were coming alive with Andy Dalton at quarterback.
Guess what? You had 4 takeaways against Tom Brady. And what happened?
He's the GOAT. They're the defending champs. I've already predicted they're going to go 20-0.
You're allowed to beat the GOAT.
Okay, well, we came about as close as you can come.
Well, I don't care about no close. You throwing grenades and slow dancing.
How about my offense? How about, listen, I told you yesterday, a star got born out here in Hollywood on Sunday.
We've done this before, Skip.
Tony Pollard,
we've done this.
Star is born.
Skip, we've done this before. We've seen Tony Pollard.
Coming out party.
Skip, we've seen this before. Tony Pollard had this breakout game. They give him more touches, and then what happens? Not the same thing. It's easy, Skip, when you come in and spot here, spot there. But when you're the guy, and they focused on you, and they try to give you the ball 20, 25 times.
I think he just became the co-guy. You know it, and I know it.
Skip, but they talked about that.
13 carries for 109 and 3 catches for 31 more yards. Every time he touched the ball, it was electric.
Yes.
But I've been telling you that. He's got a gear Zeke does not have.
Skip, they talked about this. They've talked about splitting the carries, saving Zeke for down the road when he's going to need those 20, 25 carries a game.
This is classic thunder and lightning because I saw some of the old thunder flash from Zeke because when they needed 3rd and 1, he can get you 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
When they need Zeke to crash it in from 3 or 4 yards out for a touchdown, his body lean is still the best in the game. I don't see anybody. Well, you have to get him going downhill. If he's running sideways and he's not able to turn it up, you saw the 3rd and 1 play at Tampa where the undrafted practice squatter just hog-tied him for a yard loss on what should have been a touchdown. If that's Tony Pollard, he waltzes that ball in because he's going to beat the backup, the 3rd-string safety to the pylon.
No, he ain't.
Yes, he is.
The guy has outside leverage. He has outside leverage. So now, and you know Tony Pollard doesn't have the power to Zeke, so he can't bully me.
He's got some jets.
Yeah.
He's got jets. And I wish on that Hail Mary play at the end of the half, if they had had Tony in the game and CD laterals to Tony, he just might have beaten them to the pylon. And that game would have been over right there at halftime because all of a sudden you're looking at 17-3. I mean, we've been to 21. We've gotten it to 21, right?
You got what you needed.
Okay, we did get what we needed because we got a huge victory that we had to have so we didn't fall to 0-2. So my quarterback's playing at the highest level ever. My offensive line is back intact. And you saw what happened when the future Hall of Famer, as you have acknowledged, when Zach Martin is back in the lineup, it changes everything. He is the ultimate road greater. You can run behind him because he is going to wipe out the man in front of him, and he might take 2 guys with him. Right?
Yeah. Skip, but Skip, I just acknowledge your offense is better because it seems to be just you've balanced up. Now, maybe this we'll see moving forward because for the most part, Skip, they've been heavy pass, not so much run. They balanced it up on Sunday. So it was 31-27. We'll see if that's a trend or a blip. We'll find out moving forward. But after 2 games, you're at the exact same record that you had last year, and your defense looked pretty much the same, minus the turnovers.
Do you remember what we were doing every one of those games except for the opener at Rams, which we lost on a bad call? but we were falling hopelessly behind. And to your point, Dak was throwing for thousands of empty calorie yards that were basically just garbage time.
Yeah, I'm glad you realized that. Yeah.
Okay, well, I acknowledged it then.
Yeah.
Because it was hard to watch. We took the ball Sunday and ran it right down their throat on the opening drive.
You had 14 points in the first quarter. You got 6 over the final 3 quarters. That's really improving.
We had 13 first downs in the first quarter, which tied an all-time NFL record for first downs in the first quarter.
And you won by 3. Over a 56-yard walk-off.
A really good team with a great young quarterback. Am I right?
Oh.
That's what you told me.
Yeah, he is. He is.
And what should horrify you the most is, I'm going to knock on wood when I say this, none of our lost players so far are lost for the year, because obviously DeMarcus Lawrence broke his little toe, but he'll be back by mid-season, and that'll be right on schedule. Randy Gregory's on the COVID list. He's going to be back. Lyle Collins is out for 5 games on a suspension. They're still appealing it. It's not going to happen, but he'll be back after 5 games. Michael Gallup has a calf strain. He's going to be back in, I think, 2 or 3 games, and we didn't really miss him the other day. And Donovan Wilson has a groin strain. Well, he'll be back maybe next week. And Neville Gallimore dislocated his elbow, which you've gone through before, and you said what?
I was out a month.
Okay. Well, all right. So we'll get him back. And he is a force in the middle of our defensive line.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm saying, wait a second. We're poised for takeoff here.
Wait a second. We're poised to be 9-8 and lose the division.
Who do you like? Philly at Dallas a week from last night. Who you like?
We'll talk about that game a little later in the week.
We'll talk about it because you got to like Dallas in that game. And then Carolina comes calling. And and then you want some dew on that?
Sam Darnold's not looking too bad.
I know.
Sam Darnold, huh?
And your little man, Christian, that you watch grow